I know that the offseason is pretty much over and the preseason is essentially here, but there are still some quality free agents out there that I think the Bengals should really take a look at. Obviously these guys may not be signed for many of reasons, but I still think there's some quality talent out there that the Bengals should at least heavily consider. And first and foremost, I'm going to start off in the running back room. There's still a bunch of names out there: Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, even some smaller guys like J.D. McKissick and Rex Burkhead. I think at the end of the day, we all know what Joe Mixon is. He's been very up and down. We're all expecting a bounce back year, but we can't assume he is going to bounce back. And let's just say Joe Mixon kind of continues on that plane of not being the best or struggling or getting hurt. So then you're going to turn to 6th-round rookie Chase Brown. And then what's even after that? Chris Evans has not been the favorite amongst the coaching staff. Trayvon Williams is hurt. We have a couple undrafted guys. There's just so much uncertainty after Joe Mixon that I think adding a quality veteran running back just raises the floor of the team. It kind of makes you avoid that scary scenario where you're left with a rookie or 2 6th-round drafted running backs and to kind of carry the boatload of the touches in the running back room. There's just too much talent still out there in the running back market to not at least kind of, poke around and see. I think all those running backs know at this point they're not getting starting jobs. They're not going to get any of that. So I think just adding a quality veteran in the back end of the room, at the very least, they're going to your mentor to Chase Brown, to some of these other guys. I just don't see too many downsides to adding a veteran running back. And the next one is going to be on the offensive line, Dalton Risner again. We all know he's been very up and down in his career, but it's offensive line depth. He's a quality starter, period, and he's still available in free agency. Again, he's one of those guys where you're looking at it. He has to accept he's probably not going to get a starting gig. Yeah, maybe he can wait out a preseason or a camp injury, but again, that time is dwindling as well. And when you can approach a guy and be like, hey, there's going to be opportunities here to compete on a Super Bowl caliber team, I think that's, a lot more beneficial and appealing than some of the other pitches these teams can make. But at the end of the day, again, all these people are free agents for a reason. Who knows really what it is, but we've seen how important offensive line depth is in the NFL period, especially for the Cincinnati Bengals, how much it's impacted the results in the finish of their last 2 seasons. So I think adding any good offensive lineman that's out there, specifically Dalton Risner, I think is just a no-brainer. Again, you want to make sure that offensive line depth, that offensive line unit is as deep and as strong as possible, because sadly, we've seen how important it is to have depth top to bottom in the offensive line room. And last, I think, again, the trend, veterans. And that's going to continue here with looking at some of the tight ends. You have Kyle Rudolph, the Cincinnati kid, Cameron Brate. There's some of these guys that provide some solidity, provides, what you're getting out of them. You're going to have good blockers. You're going to get great run blocking, some good pass protection, and you're going to get some quality red zone reps. And the thing about the tight end room, there ain't much to the room. You got Irv Smith Jr., obviously, who's going to be the starting tight end. Drew Sample is what he is at this point. Solid blocker, pretty much going to give you nothing in the passing game. And then you have Asiasi. You have some of these other kind of like random guys floating around. Again, it kind of goes back to the same thing to the running back argument. When you add somebody, it just raises that floor. You have somebody to count on. Last year, Mitchell Wilcox was getting run at the starting tight end. And you're telling me, like, you wouldn't rather have Cameron Brate, Kyle Rudolph out there, these veterans, these guys that have been here, the guys that have been in the postseason, these guys that have worked with young tight ends, the guys that have worked with superstar quarterbacks. They just fit in every category. And you look at the character of them, the Bengals love high character guys. And these are 2 guys that have been around for a while and are highly respected wherever they have gone. So again, just continuing to add veterans in these rooms to kind of just raise the floor of your team. That's what this period of free agency is. You're going to raise the floor of your team. Your ceiling is what it is at this point. But if you can better adapt yourself to prepare for an injury, that's exactly why I think the Bengals should consider adding a free agent in the 3 areas that I listed today.